Would you like to learn from those that are taking their lives, their businesses, and their passions to the next level? Best-selling author of Speakeasy and master connector Lou Diamond is here to connect you to some of the most inspiring and amazing people on this planet. Get ready to thrive loud with Lou Diamond.
Welcome, everyone, to another amazing episode of Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond, connecting you to the most inspiring and amazing people that are thriving each and every day. I'm your host, Lou Diamond, and today on Thrive Loud, we have a Tokyo native who built a career at one of Japan's top trading firms, earned her MBA in New York City, and went on to consult for global leaders navigating high-stakes communication. She is a 5-time speech contest champion, best-selling author, cancer survivor, and the creator of the transformative framework known as the Culture of One, helping diverse teams communicate as one powerful voice. I got one powerful guest here today, Thrive Loud listeners and viewers, Natsuyo Lipschutz. Natsuyo, welcome to Thrive Loud.
Hi, Lou.
Hello. And
good to be here.
I'm so excited to have you here. Listeners need to know, this is ridiculously overdue. Like, I've known Natsuyo for almost a decade. And, you know, somehow, like, life, busyness, work, her constant travel across the globe is, you know, difficult to try and...
Just like last week.
Exactly. Coming back from Japan, where she just was in. And we're recording this in mid-November, and it is long overdue, but I'm very excited to have her here. Natsuyo, do me a favor. Let's do a little rewind. I gave the high-level overview. Let's talk about how you ended up doing the work that you do.
Okay. So we need to rewind 30 years, Lou. So like you said, I'm Japanese, born and raised, and I traveled 7,000 miles to start my career here in New York. And first as a Japanese, at a Japanese company, then McKinsey, then I started my own strategy consulting firm. And now I'm a keynote speaker and I speak about cross-cultural team communication. And interestingly, I came to this cross-cultural field because about 10 years after I came to the US, I got fired for miscommunication by someone from my own country. And that was a wake-up call for me. And it made me really realize that, you know, something very important. In a conventional way of approaching cross-culture, we tend to think that cultural diversity is about country-to-country differences, right? And we're even encouraged to learn about different countries' cultural norms, customs, and do's and don'ts. But cultural diversity is actually not just about nationality or ethnicity. It's about the unique layers we carry, our experiences, our values, the way we interpret the world. And I call that the culture of one. So I realized that after experiencing this, you know, catastrophic consulting engagement, when I ended up getting fired, and I started really pursuing cross-cultural communication, especially within a team setting. But now I'm not a cross-cultural researcher, and I did not invent any cultural models or anything like that. But my value is different. So I don't study culture, but I decode it in real time. And I try to blend my McKinsey-trained strategic thinking with facilitation and storytelling to help diverse teams peel back those layers and surface what's unspoken and transform cross-cultural barriers into high-performance drivers built on trust and connection.
I love this. And I also love the fact that, obviously, at least from an American point of view, America and Japan have had cultural differences for decades, centuries, we would even argue between the two. And what's really fascinating is that I do know that they have both taken a little bit from each other and made it part of their cultures. I mean, I know this, there's been, remember the movie Gung Ho made a whole piece about deploying Japanese business culture in the US, and a lot of the American processes ended up going over to Japan in the electronics industries. So those two unique cultures into and of themselves are definitely unique. But I can totally understand, having worked in Japan on business a couple of times and seen how different these cultures are. I would love to ask this very simple high level question, which is, how do you start addressing what the cultural issue or problem is with the clients that you work with? What is the kickoff to identify that
Mhm.
uniqueness?
The first step is to acknowledge that your common sense may not be so common. We we like to think that, oh, this is common sense, everyone understands this, and this is the way it's done, and I don't have to tell you that, right? But in a cross-cultural situation, especially if there is a huge difference, just like between the US and Japan, um, your common sense is often not common.
Mm,
And that's exactly what happened between that person who fired me and myself. I became Americanized from their eyes, and yet I'm Japanese. I look Japanese. I speak like Japanese, and they expected me to have the same common sense as they did.
mm,
So they were assuming things, um, and that wasn't the case for me. So because I shifted after I came to the US. So and at the same time, I thought certain things were common sense because I was hired as a strategy consultant by this person, and I thought it was my job to give him a harsh truth as a strategy consultant. But for him, it was a disrespect and it was a humiliation. Um, and I thought I was just doing my job perfectly. And that was my common sense, but that wasn't the case. So, really high level, know that your common sense may not be so common. So, observe where the differences might be.
across the globe, I'm going to bring this up because this is ideal, because you are not only Japanese, you're also a woman. And there are cultural
Mhm.
differences between in genders in different cultures. How much of that was a factor, at least in this particular instance? I'm just curious if it was.
Yeah, I think that was a big part as well.
Yeah.
Back then, it was um, so that was 10 years after I came here, so 15 years ago. Oh, no, 20 years ago. So I was a young girl back then. So I was a young girl, hired as a consultant, lived in the US for 10 years at that time. So some Americanized young girl was telling a 65-year-old authoritative figure what to do.
Mhm.
So, I should have been more aware of my position, but at that time, I had no clue.
I think, though, let's look beyond just the spectrum of just Japan and the US. There's lots of cultures. There's lots of places out there that you've worked with and you deal with. If you were to find one common issue that they all initially have before, of course, working with you, is there one more common symptom that you see more often than not?
Well, again, I keep emphasizing that your common sense is not common,
Yeah.
and that's where misunderstandings and miscommunication and mistrust start. Um, and especially, it's interesting. Uh, a a huge cultural misunderstanding tends to happen between English speaking countries. So
Mm,
think of US and England, right? They both speak English. So you assume that, oh, so my message was clear enough, but it may be interpreted differently.
right.
So, no matter what country, no matter who from what country you're speaking to, um, having some assumption and having a common sense, your version of common sense is the huge mistake.
Yeah.
And that's exactly why. And especially in this country, especially in New York, there are so many people with mixed races and second generation, third generation, people here. So we are all different. Even if I'm Japanese, I'm not an immigrant. I'm still an alien. I have a green card, but anyways, so me as Japanese versus Japanese American who grew up in New York, for example, we're different. And I'm very different than Japanese who just came to New York, right? So that's why I really emphasize the culture of one. Everyone has his or her own unique culture. So that's why when you talk about cross culture, I really want to redefine cultural diversity. It's not about nationality or ethnicity. You have to look at one person as a person.
Yeah. I think that's it. It is true because those generalizations, those assumptions, you know what happens when you assume, we could break
Mhm.
that, we could break that word down, make an ass out of you and me. I always recognize that asking really good questions, which is something that great consultants and great leaders do
Yes.
to identify, where they're at, even what they like to use. Uh, and more recently, let's talk about this. I agree with you that there is a business language I think that people have, and I think there's certain assumptions, but yet within businesses there's different priorities. Um, that has been changing. There used to be this work really hard, drive, and then there were people with burnout, and now there is a greater appreciation to different generations in the workplace and how they're interpreting of that. I would love with this in this culture of one, I imagine you're seeing just as you did as a young woman versus a more authoritative older gentleman. Um, that mix is something that's probably happening more often in the workplace than not.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to actually go back to what you said earlier, asking good questions, right?
Yeah.
So it's really important to listen beyond words when faced with cross-cultural differences. And crafting good questions is the key to surface what's not being said. And so the question is, what are good questions, right? So good question for one person may not be the good question for others because we all have different angles. So
Yeah.
good questions invite them to think differently and dig deeper into themselves and look for answers within and provide information. And good questions have to um, meet two criteria. One, people are willing to answer that question. And two, the answer to the question provides both parties some insights or revelation or aha moments. And again, a good question for one person may not be a good question for others. And you need to find the right angle, like a blind spot, so that they can look at the same topic or the same question from a slightly different angle. And that new angle is where a new insight lives. So crafting good questions in a way that allow the other person to come up with something new in their head, but actually you are facilitating their thought process. So
Yeah.
that's a good question.
I want to address something I brought up in the beginning. You are a 5-time speech contest champion. I'm going to ask this question. Were those you are bilingual? I know this, or maybe you speak more than 2 languages. I don't know. I know you speak 2.
Just two.
Just 2. What language did you deliver that content in?
English.
In English. Amazing. Which I always joke about this. Listeners need to know that we are speaking to one of the highest forms of professional speaking, that she is a CSP in NSA, or is applying for one, right? Or you already have one. You already have one.
I have one.
You have
Yeah,
a medal.
I got it last year.
She's still wearing her medal. Anyway, so when she actually was putting together her content, she obviously had tremendous opportunity speaking in Japanese, and I got a chance to hear. I've only heard her speak in English, and I know that she is as fluid as anything. But when it comes to speaking, and that feeling of communicating, there's an aha moment that you probably deliver in most of your content that you see in the audience. The audience nods. I know there's many of them in the content you deliver. Is there one that always seems to show up more often than not when Natsuyo speaks?
Huh. You mean the audience reaction?
Yeah. So what is it that you're saying that it gets the most consistent and most frequent
Hmm.
reaction to what you're saying, that, oh yeah, she's right, I hear what she's saying?
Okay. So usually when I'm giving a keynote to non-Japanese audience, I start speaking in Japanese.
Mhm.
As soon as I get on stage, I start I start going, 皆さんこんにちは、のことなつよです。今日は異文化コミュニケーションについてお話しします。Wait, what? And I stop and I switch to English. And do you understand me now? And everyone goes, yeah. And then I said, well, we wish. Well, just because the same language is spoken doesn't mean that your message is clearly heard. And they go,
I'm getting
oh,
ahead. I'm getting an aha moment here too. I love
yeah,
that. Oh, that's
yeah.
effective.
So from the get-go, I show up as Japanese, and as a bilingual keynote speaker, and I make a point that it's not about the language, it's not about where you came from, but it's about something else that's more important to close the cross-cultural gap.
Awesome. For the record, I'm so glad listeners and viewers got a chance. We finally have somebody speaking native Japanese here on the show. We've been looking for this. Thank you. We have this expression here on Thrive Loud that you do create a lot of great content. You've written great books, you deliver great speeches, and obviously this is the gift that you're giving the world. You're putting out this great content that is connecting with other people. But in the work that you do, Natsuyo, there's a gift and a happy accident that you get back in return from putting that amazing content out there. What is the thing that keeps you excited? What is that happy accident gift that you receive from creating all this amazing content and messaging that you deliver?
Hmm. Well, I don't know if it's happy accident, but whenever as a CSP, it's my mission it's a little grand, but to change the world one speech at a time.
Yeah.
And when people come to me or they send me an email after the keynote saying, wow, I now look at cross culture very differently, and I can apply the skills starting today, which just happened a couple weeks ago in Japan. Uh, that's that's really a rewarding moment for me. Um, I wouldn't call it an accident, but that's when I feel, well, doing I'm doing my work.
Yeah. You're doing your part in changing the world. I totally get
Yeah,
that. I like that.
yeah.
We're going to do the admin part of the show, and then we're going to dive into a fun version of Fun Street here, where I've got a really good closeout question, which just hit me. I can't wait to deliver it. Natsuyo, share with the listeners all the places people can learn about you.
Well, you can visit my website, www.natsuyolipschutz.us. I know it's a hard spelling. It's Natsuyo, Lipschutz, Lipschutz.
Spectacular. And she's also that in social media everywhere. And when you go there, you will see the coolest, her name in Japanese and in English written
Yeah.
in a cool font. Very cool stuff. Whoever did that for you, shout out to them because it's optically awesome. All right. Are you ready, Natsuyo, for a fun little trip down
Yes.
Fun Street? I know she is. Okay. I'm going to ease onto the ramp here. We're going to do like the Mount Rushmore here. Does Natsuyo Lipschutz have at least, we'll give it the Mount Rushmore, up to that many for favorite movies of all time?
Ooh, favorite movies.
And they could just be one or two or just that resonate, but no more than four.
Well, Shall We Dance?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, because I do competitive ballroom Latin dancing, and I have a competition coming up next month for the first time in 6 years.
Amazing. First of all,
Yeah.
I think I knew that you dance. I didn't know it was competitively at that level. That's amazing.
Yep, yep. I've been
Um,
competing since 2004. So it's been a while.
And where is this competition? Where is it?
New Jersey.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, my backyard.
Is this the same partner that you've had for over the years or a different one?
No, I've had the same partner for 20 years. So my partner was almost like my second husband. And then last year he decided that, oh, I want to semi-retire and I want to slow down. And here's a new guy. He's 22 years old. I'm like, okay, he's like my son. So I started dancing with this new teacher slash my partner in January this year. So it's been what, 10 months or 11 months. And this is our first competition together. So we'll see how that goes.
So on a side note about that movie, I lived in Chicago for a year and a half, and the place that they filmed where the studio was in Chicago, I'm very familiar with. It's literally, I passed it by all the
Really?
time. It was not a dance studio. It was just, they made it look like one, but I know the
Oh,
building that they
wow.
did. It was kind of cool. Just
Wow.
very cool stuff. Okay. We're going to head on over to Fun Street and we're going to do the Speakeasy Pub Crawl. We're going to stop at all of Natsuyo's favorite spots and favorite places. And here we go. We're strolling down this street here, Natsuyo. What kind of music, what song, or maybe something of late has been in your head that's kind of playing that we're listening to as we're heading down this street?
Oh, of course, Latin music like cha-cha, samba, rumba.
Was this music something that you were always into throughout your whole life? Like,
Not really. No, when I was living in Japan, I was listening to all the J-pops.
right.
And then I came here. You know, I used to listen to everything, but now I've been dancing for 20 plus years. Whenever I'm when I'm in a restaurant and they play some songs, right? And whenever they switch to Latin music, my body reacts. I'm like, oh, that's cha-cha. Oh, that's rumba.
That's amazing. I love it.
Yeah, love it.
Okay, a favorite food that is not a dessert.
Ooh, I was gonna say cakes. Um, Favorite food that is not dessert. Um, okay, I don't know if you know or the viewers know, but natto, which is
Oh,
fermented beans,
yep.
and most non-Japanese people hate it. My husband still can't eat it, but that's my comfort food.
I like it. Okay.
Not natto over hot white rice.
So you
Yeah, I'm very Japanese in that sense.
now you mentioned your favorite dessert, some kind of cake. What kind of cake do you like being your favorite dessert?
Fresh cream strawberry shortcake.
Oh, I like that too.
Mm.
I'm a fan. An activity you wish you did more of.
Hmm. Ice skating.
Oh,
Yeah.
eh,
Well, you know my daughter is a competitive figure skater,
yes.
and if I was able to skate, I could have skated with her.
Wow. I've got a lot of
But I can't.
athleticism going on in this family, obviously, from
Yeah.
dancing to skating. I see where it's going. An activity you wish you did less of.
Counting money.
Hold on. I think you meant managing and spending money. If the activity was actually physically counting your own money and you never could end, that is something you'd want to be doing forever.
I mean,
I understood what that meant.
yeah, I gotta be real, right? My daughter is in ninth grade. She goes to private school. She does figure skating. I do competitive ballroom dancing, and all the money I earn are going away. And I'm like always counting, and like, how much money do I have left? I hate doing that.
Understood. A new activity that you recently tried, Natsuyo, that you love so much, you want to tell all the listeners and viewers to try.
New activity. Um, that reminds me that I haven't done anything new lately. The
Mm,
only thing new is having a new partner in my dancing.
there you
And
go.
that's a eye-opening experience because you can be set in your own way, but when you have something new in the equation, that totally changes the your experience.
Absolutely. Love
Yeah,
it.
dance with a new person.
Natsuyo, if I could snap my fingers and you could be anywhere in the world, where are you?
Ah, Paris.
Okay. With that
Because
sound like
I just thought,
it's like a
yeah,
question mark.
I was debating between Paris and Rome because I just love desserts, and
Mm.
I was thinking of places that have great desserts.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you, and have delicious cakes, and
Yeah,
let alone
yeah.
that. My last question, which is going to be an interesting one, as we obviously have the focus of culture of one. You've pretty much, not fully, but split your life between these two nations as Japan and America. How do you see yourself today?
Hmm. I see myself as a global citizen.
Okay. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to see my daughter's identity as well. She's a complete bicultural, bilingual, um, 14-year-old, and I'm not like that, but I'm more, I guess, global in the sense that I know how to adjust my either my communication or my attitude or my demeanor. I learned from that huge mistake I made, you know, um, back when was it, 20 years ago. I learned to really adapt myself into the situation. So in that sense, I would say I'm a global person.
Yeah. I'm going to comment on something 20 years later. We don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know if it was a mistake.
Hmm.
I think
Yeah.
I think some people will argue there are no mistakes, nor are there any coincidences. They're the actions we take because they're what's supposed to happen then.
Yeah.
The judgments might be made one or another, or they might not be in the best way, but make it clear without that mistake, we don't get the amazing Natsuyo that we have today, potentially. So
That's a great point. That was
we
a learning experience.
exactly. We learn and grow from all of them. Trust me, technically make mistakes all day long. It's just a
Yeah.
matter of whether it was a good or bad one. People might say that I don't think we could put those judgments on there. That's my own
Yeah.
take.
So what you learn from whatever happened in the past is most important.
Absolutely. Natsuyo Lipschutz, Culture of One, and finally here on Thrive Loud. Truly my honor and pleasure, and long overdue apologies for not getting you here sooner because the world needed to hear you, and so glad to have you.
Thank you so much for having me.
You got it. To all our listeners and viewers out there, thank you for joining us. Until next time, keep moving onward and upward, and remember, be brief, be bright, be gone.
You've been listening to Thrive Loud with your host, Lou Diamond. Check us out on the web at thriveloud.com and follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook at Thrive Loud. And check us out on the Good Pods app at Thrive Loud, where you can follow, listen, and connect directly to Lou and all of the Thrive Loud episodes. Thanks for listening.